So today I want to tell you the story of the song Bring Back My Happiness. I wrote it in 1993 when the rave scene was in a really strange place, because the sort of like 3 or 4 years before that, the rave scene had exploded. And I had gone from complete obscurity, making music that no one was listening to suddenly being almost this sort of stalwart fixture in the rave scene, in the world of electronic music. And in the early 90s, the rave scene was joyful. You know, raves like Rain Dance and Future, and you would go to these raves and the music was uplifting and happy, and people were hugging each other and smiling and dancing, and it was as utopian as anything I'd ever experienced. Like it felt like this benign, wonderful, celebratory future that we were all creating. Like we weren't just a part of it, but we were creating it. We were starting the record labels and making the records and starting the t-shirt companies and becoming club promoters, etc., etc. And then in around 1993, things started to get darker. It was almost as if people, like the intelligentsia had become embarrassed of joy. They were, and not everyone, but like all of a sudden, like the overt expressions of emotion, it's almost like people were embarrassed of it. And so the music got darker and the drugs got weirder and raves became a lot less celebratory. Like I remember going to this one club, NASA, in New York, and it was sort of my home away from home. And NASA in 1992 had just been paradise. Happy kids dancing and smiling and sweating and hugging each other. And then even a year later in 1993, it had become a lot of darkness. Like you'd walk in and there'd be kids sitting on the floor passed out in K-holes from doing too much ketamine. And the music got dark. To be fair, the music was still really good, but it was just dark and it was menacing. And the joy had sort of disappeared. And people weren't as friendly. They weren't hugging each other. They weren't celebrating as much. And so one night I'd been at NASA and I just got really depressed because I was like, what happened? Like, what happened to this joyful, optimistic, uplifting future that we were all sort of going to be a part of, that we were creating? And so I went home and I wrote this song, Bring Back My Happiness. And it was just an unapologetic, piano-driven, gospel vocal, hands in the air rave song. And when I wrote it, I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to like it because this is clearly uncool regarding what was going on in the musical zeitgeist at the time. Because at the time, it was all just like this dark, heavy electronic music. But I was like, you know what? I love uplifting rave music. I love uplifting female gospel vocals and rave tracks. I love joyful pianos. So the song Bring Back My Happiness was my one-person sort of like protest against the darkness, but also, my desire to just remind people and remind myself that like the strength of rave culture was always the joy and the celebration.